Hey guys, Bird Yu-Gi-Oh here. So today I wanted to do one of my favorite decks, favorite budget competitive decks that is just really good, Salamangreat. Real quick before I get into that though, I wanted to mention a newer deck that I am just really loving, a new archetype I guess, Magistus. These cards are, this whole archetype is just really awesome. I'm going to be doing a pure version, an Endymion Magistus version, and a Shadal version. And I would suggest if you guys have any interest in these cards, pick up at least the ultra rares. These guys here, because I just really feel like these are going to be going up here soon, and ultra rares, just being around the game for a while, they hold their value and they usually go up in price. Because they do not print as many of these as they do obviously the supers and the commons. So these are harder to find, and I feel like the price of them is going to be going up. And it's just such a cool archetype. So stay tuned for all those deck profiles, but we will get right into this one with a super competitive Salamangreat budget deck, of course. Starting off with our best card, Gazelle. You always want it in hand because if a Salamangreat monster is sent to your graveyard, you can special summon him, and then you'll be able to send a Salamangreat card from your deck to the graveyard, which just kind of gets your plays going. So he's a card you always want to see in your hand, always want to search him. Amazing. There's a reason he's limited, because he is so good. We also play 3 Foxy. This one, when it's normal summoned, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you can add a Salamangreat card that you excavated, and then you shuffle the rest into the deck. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target a spell and trap on the field, discard a Salamangreat card, special summon this card, then destroy that spell and trap. So that second effect is why we play it at 3, because you're fine seeing this. You actually want it in your graveyard, so then you can do some follow-up plays, get him back to the field, plus destroy a spell and trap. Really good. Then I actually lowered Spinny to 2. I just needed more room for some other cool tech cards that I am playing in this deck. And this card is one that you can get to the grave pretty easily, or to your hand if you need it. And yeah, it's a free summon basically. And we play 2 Jack Jaguars still. This is just one of the level 4s that is just really easy to get onto the field. So basically, you can target Salamangreat monster in your graveyard, shuffle into the deck, and then you can special summon this card to a zone that a Salamangreat Link monster points to. So very easy to get him out. We also are playing 1 Falco. Again, another level 4. That is pretty easy to get out because if this card is in your graveyard, you can target a Salamangreat monster you control, return that monster to the hand, and then you can special summon him. And then Foul, if you normal or special summon a Salamangreat monster, you can special summon him from hand. So they all have their purposes. Obviously the 4s are mostly for going into like your rank 4 monster that we play in the extra deck, or just going into links. And then pretty much the best normal summon for the Salamangreat monsters is Lady Debug, 100%. Got a new reprint, so this card is even easier now to get a hold of. But basically, if it's normal or special summoned, you can add a level 3 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. So that basically means normal summon this, you get to add Gazelle, and then go into your crazy plays from there. And then another just really good Cyberse card, really good extend, probably one of the best extenders in the game. Parallel Exceed. If you link summon, you can special summon this from the hand, and then you can special summon another one from the deck, and it becomes a level 4. So pretty good, obviously, for going into any links, and rank 4s, so he's just perfect for this deck. And then, of course, Salamangreats would not be complete without hand traps. So we're playing Ash Blossom, mostly because it's a fire effect monster, which that can help you go into Sunlight Wolf if need be, but usually you are not using that for that purpose, but you can, it's an option. And then we are also playing 3 Phantasme. It's budget now, it's a super easy card to get a hold of, and it just gains you advantage, gets a free monster on board. It's a good card in a deck like this, in this deck specifically. I think it's about the only deck I play Phantasme in, because it is just so good in this deck. It does a lot for this. So yeah, pick those up. They are a really good, nice card to have. For the spells, we are playing 2 Will. It's one of the better Salamangreat cards to see in your hand. I just don't like seeing more than 1, so that's why I played at 2. Because basically this is your backup plan if your opponent has a lot of negates on board. This still allows you to get just something on board, because it allows you to special summon a Salamangreat from your hand or your graveyard, which is just, that alone is just really good. Play the 1 Sanctuary. You search it off of basically your first link summon, Baylinks, so it's definitely important. And it's almost the key to the deck, because this allows you to go into a Sunlight Wolf using another Sunlight Wolf, which just, is limited. You're using limited resources for one to get to Sunlight Wolf, and then to get into another one to use his other effect. You're just using less resources, so it's really important for this deck to have that ability to link summon. Just using 1 link monster. Salamangreat Circle. There's a reason that one's limited. It's a quick play search card, which is just insane. Yeah, opening this means you get a Gazelle to your hand no matter what. So, or not no matter what, but very easily. And then Signet Mining is another very good card, very important card. You send a card from your hand to the graveyard, and then you simply just add a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. So that can even search out your Lady Debug for a really good normal summon, or again, that really good Gazelle. And then we are playing the really cool tech card for this deck, this version, I guess, is Super Polymerization. It is amazing, regardless, but then I really like it in this deck specifically, because of the fusion monster that you can play with it. It just requires a Salamangreat and then any link monster, so using your opponent's link monster that's problematic is nice way to use Super Polymerization. And then in this version, playing 3 Pot of Desires. I know some of you guys hate the card, but in this version, the only card that we don't want to banish is that Gazelle. That's the only one. So ideally, you want to be getting to it, which you have a lot of ways of doing that. Get to Gazelle and then use Pot of Desires if you can. But then, obviously if you don't open Gazelle and your hand is filled with cards that you can't do anything with, Pot of Desires is probably going to help you out. Getting those 2 draws is, more important than those 10 banish cards, in my opinion. So you can play less, you can play it at 2 if you want, but I just really want to see it in hand as like a just-in-case card. And then another draw card, Pot of Avarice. In this particular deck, it's mostly going to be good on like your second turn, but it becomes very good at that point. And then we play 1 Called by the Grave. For obvious reasons, we do a lot of searching, and we don't want to get Ash Blossomed by our opponent if we can help it. And then Monster Reborn, obviously just getting another extender on board for link summoning. And then I play the standard 2 roar, 2 rage, standard for me, I guess. I really just like 2 and 2, maximizes my chances of having one of each, because that is pretty dang good. That's almost, you should win that match if you have one of each of these set. It's just so much interruption and advantage that you're going to have over your opponent. So I like 2 and 2. It just, like, again, maximizes my chances of seeing one of each. They're both extremely good cards. And that is the main deck. For the extra, we of course play the easiest link monster for them to go into, Baylinks. It just requires a level 4 or lower Cybers. It adds Salamangreat Sanctuary. If this is in the grave and a card you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this instead. So it's an amazing card. And then we also are playing 3 Sunlight Wolf. This is your combo starter. This is almost what the deck is centered around, is Sunlight Wolf. If a monster is normal or special summoned to a zone he points to, you can add a fire monster from your graveyard to your hand. And then if this card was link summoned using another Sunlight Wolf, you can add a Salamangreat spell and trap from your graveyard to your hand. So with cards like Gazelle, you could send one of these traps and then you'll be able to add it to your hand with Sunlight Wolf, which is obviously really nice, just being able to search one of those really powerful traps. Play 2 Heat Leo. When this card's link summoned, you can target one card in your opponent's spell and trap zone, shuffle it into the deck, and then while you control this card that was summoned using another Heat Leo, you can target a face-up monster on the field and one monster in your graveyard. The attack of that other monster becomes equal to the other targets. So you can lower the attack of a monster your opponent controls pretty low. Potentially if you have like a Baylinks or something, you can get it down to like 500. So kind of cool. And then kind of our way of OTKing without access code talker, of course. Update Jammer and transcode talker is just super easy, especially since we're playing Parallel Exceed. This is just super easy to get to and OTK your opponent pretty easily. And then we're playing Nightmare Phoenix. It's a fire effect monster, so you can still go into Sunlight Wolf with it, and just getting rid of spell and trap is really nice. And then our link 4 that we're playing, Unchained Abomination. I usually play like a Borreload, either like a Borreload Savage, or sorry, a Borreload or a I can't think of the card. Yeah, one of them. Or but in this version, I'm deciding to go with Unchained Abomination. Just being able to have potentially something like this that's just destroying cards on the field, like no matter what your opponent does. And then also, again, having stuff like Rage and Roar. It's just kind of nice to have. It's really cool. And then our rank 4 that we're playing, that I decided to play, is Baguska. There's reasons for it. One, people just, honestly, I think, forget about this card a lot, and it really messes with people. They can't play around it, it seems like, and you play a lot of links. So you ideally are going into your links, and then once you're done with all those plays, the Sunlight Wolf plays and all that, you're making a Baguska, and none of your link monsters are affected by him. So it's just a good card that's hopefully just going to affect your opponent and not you at all. And then for our super polymerization targets, we have the Salamangreat Violet Chimera. Very good. And then Starving Venom. Just kind of a generic one. You can play whatever other one you want to play here, but I just went with a good generic one. But yeah, that is the deck, guys. It's one of my favorites. It's just as far as like competitive budget decks go, it's got to be one of the best out there. So good, so consistent, and it's a very annoying deck to play against because it just keeps coming back and back and back. It's just a really fun deck. Try it out, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.